So the morning of the gig, usually my body tells me that there's a gig later on. I try to talk myself into, it's not till 7 o'clock. You're not going to get there till about 4 o'clock to load in sound check. I can't help it, it's just hardwired in me to worry, to feel nervous on gig day.
Back in the car with everything, all the gear. We sometimes have a wee bit of a warm-up, a bit of a run through.
That's obviously our private reg.
So normally, if you've got a gig, if you're on about 7, half 7 as a support act, say, you probably need to be at the venue for about 4 o'clock for load-in. Normally the main act is sound checking about that time. So you're kind of caught in this really funny stage of the day where you get there, you load your equipment, and then you find your dressing room and you sit and wait until it's then your turn to be called to go on stage to set up your equipment and to do your sound check.
Yeah, the sound is a big thing for us. That's a big thing for any artist. I think to do your best on stage, you need to be able to hear yourself, and the sound check's a massive part of putting your mind at rest. If you have a good sound check and everything goes fine, you can hear yourself fine, you usually relax a little bit. But if you have a bad sound check and you just think, oh, this is going to be a bit of a nightmare, then you know that can set the nerves.
How did the eves begin, Marissa?
Yeah, that is.
She was chasing after me. That's what.
Hardly. I just sent a message on Facebook. I'd seen Caroline on the sort of same circles musically, checked her out and thought, yeah, I'll just see if she wants to collaborate and write together. Got in touch and she was busy with her EP at the time, her solo stuff.
I said no.
Knocked me back.
I said, no thanks.
And then came crawling back.
I came crawling back.
Didn't you? Yeah.
We did meet a couple of months later for a coffee, and it was like old pals.
Yeah.
First impressions though, like, I kind of heard of Marissa as well on the music scene, and I'll admit I thought, oh, she's a model and she's in another band, and you know, I was a bit like, oh, she loves herself. I thought, oh look, she's a diva.
Terrible.
And I had completely this image of her being like, what does she want to write with me for? And and then we met up and she just blew that whole thought out of the water. It was just like old friend, really warm, funny, goofy, kind, just completely not what I thought she would be. So
you thought I was stuck up, didn't you?
Appearances can be deceiving, Marissa.
Just started to share ideas. I think you had sent me
on WhatsApp.
Yeah, a couple of tunes that she was struggling to finish, and I'd come back with verse ideas and things like that. So it was just basically ping pong on WhatsApp for a little bit until we actually got together again and sat with guitars and pianos and started writing the first song, and then just kind of went from there.
Yeah. The first one was Tides, wasn't it? That was the first one we actually started writing properly together. So through that we got a bit of attention. And our first gig was at Country to Country at the Oval Hydro, and we had 4 songs and we had to have about 6 or 7 for a half-hour set. So we had to frantically go through all our scrapbooks to try to find all these other songs to write and finish off. I'll never forget that gig. I don't know why we kept going after that, do you? I was shattered.
Yeah.
Some highlights you guys have shared?
My favourite one's got to be Radio 2.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's always been a thing in my mind. You know, I always thought if you have a song on national radio, Radio 2 was my favourite station, if you have a song on Radio 2, you have made it, you know. That's out in my head years ago. I was thinking that's the top point, you know, it doesn't get any better than that. Not realising that that's just literally the starting point. But for us, getting on Radio 2 alongside the likes of Elton John and Coldplay and all these massive acts that we've looked up to for so long, to be on the playlist right next to them.
For 5 weeks.
Yeah, don't forget that.
Yeah, just got 5 weeks.
That was, for me, that was the point where that was someone saying to me, your music is good enough to be alongside all these big players.
I put a text message on the morning to say, your song's about to get played on Ken Bruce. And I was like, hold the phone. And I leapt up off the sofa. And I was just like, I was a mess. I didn't know what to do. The radio went on right away. I was like, phew. And then we sat down and we waited for it. And I think I cried, didn't I? I burst into tears. Because obviously, been doing music for so long as a solo artist and striving and fighting and scrapping to get to where you need to be. To hear that on national radio, I actually broke down and I sobbed. I actually literally sobbed. It felt like years of effort and stress and it just came flooding out. Once I set foot on that stage, after all the whole day of anxiety and stress, I become a different person. I've become a stand-up comic and something happens and I'm able to engage with the crowd. I like to have a laugh. That's probably where I feel actually most comfortable, is when I'm on the stage. I've nowhere to hide. This is it.
Every moment in your life, you can hear a song and you can point it back to how you were feeling at that time or where you were. And that never goes. You know, I still hear songs and I think, wow, it just transports me right back to where I was at a certain time. Music can change an emotion. You know, you can be in a sad mood and you put something on and it can pick you up, or vice versa. You know, we've all been in a place where we hear a song and it's so emotional that it really takes you somewhere. So I think for me, music will always have that.